The Great Depression was the worst economic downturn in the history of the industrialized world. Hi, I'm Kathleen Gan Lim, and today we'll be baking the same chocolate cake that many people baked during the Great Depression. When the Great Depression hit after the stock market crash of 1929, families were forced to stretch their budget and make do with cheap ingredients for cooking. Depression cake was a more affordable alternative to cakes that used milk, eggs, and butter. Depression cake is just one of many examples of ingredient substitution during the Great Depression. For the cake, you'll need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/3 cup of cooking oil, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 cup of water. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. In a large bowl, stir together the flour, sugar, salt, baking soda, and cocoa powder. Rising share prices brought more people into the markets, which caused an oversupply. In mid-1929, the economy fell. Production already declined and unemployment rose, leaving stock prices much higher than their actual value. Banks also had too many large loans that couldn't be broken up. Add 1 cup of water to a liquid measuring cup, and then add the vanilla extract and vinegar to the water. Add the oil to the bowl of dry ingredients, followed by the water mixture. Stir until the chocolate cake batter is smooth. Make sure no dry flour remains on the bottom of the bowl. On October 24, 1929, as nervous investors began selling overpriced shares altogether, the stock market crashed. Millions of shares were traded that day, known as Black Thursday. Pour the cake batter into a greased 8x8 or 9x9 inch baking dish. Transfer the baking dish to the oven and bake the cake for 25 minutes. Another wave of panic swept Wall Street 5 days later, called Black Tuesday. Millions of shares ended up worthless. Meanwhile, farmers couldn't afford to harvest their crops. In 1930, a harsh drought in the southern plains brought wind and dust from Texas to Nebraska. The Dust Bowl inspired a mass migration of people from farmland to cities looking for work. Bank runs swept the United States again in the spring of fall of 1931 and fall of 1932. And by early 1933, thousands of banks had closed. For the icing, you'll need 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 3 tablespoons of water, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you're using the chocolate icing, let the cake cool for at least an hour after baking before adding the icing. Add the powdered sugar, cocoa powder, and vanilla extract to a bowl. Begin adding water 1 tablespoon at a time and until it forms a thick but pourable icing. If you let the icing sit, it might begin to dry, but you can add a splash more water to make it moist again. Over the cooled cake and spread until the cake is evenly covered. With the programs and institutions of Roosevelt's New Deal that aided in recovery from the Great Depression, the economy continued to improve throughout the next 3 years. Defense manufacturing geared up to support Britain and France, producing more jobs. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in December 1941 led to America's entry into World War II, and factories went back into full production. The Great Depression ended, and the United States turned its attention to World War II. Slice your cake and enjoy.